Welcome to episode 1023. It's Monday, April 6th, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com, and listeners just like you. Pick up a domain name for just 99 cents, or get $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain at GoDaddy. All of my GoDaddy specials can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Start supporting this show today by becoming a GNC Insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Hey, folks, got a great show lined up for you. One more show here in Honolulu before I leave for Vegas, but don't worry, got lots of action for you. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Everyone, welcome to the show. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran, your host here at Geek News Central. I'm glad to be with you today. I'm glad that you've tuned in or watching on whatever device you may have in front of you. I definitely appreciate your ongoing support for the show. And again, a very, very warm welcome to all of the Ohana. And if you have been part of this audience for a while, you know what Ohana means. If you're brand new, Ohana here in Hawaii means family. So welcome to the family. And we're a great team together. And with your support, we'll continue to go forward for many, many years. But got a lot to share with you tonight in the stack. Lots to talk about. And some deals to share with you. Some new things on the horizon that you have to be aware of, but lots of stuff to get through in tonight's show. I'm going to have 2 shows here this week in Honolulu. Then, of course, I'll be leaving for Las Vegas on Friday night, and then I'll be in Vegas all week. But I will be bringing you 2 shows next week from Vegas. They will not be live. They will be recorded, and then I will put them together in the hotel room and put them up online for you. But start out here tonight by giving everyone that's brand new to the show just a quick rundown. All you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com. There's a real easy way to subscribe to the show. It's right there on the second column, or actually the only column outside the main body of content. It says on iTunes, via RSS, or more subscription options. Just click on one of those if you're on iTunes, or if you're an Android user. If you don't have a podcasting app already, we want you to click on the more subscription options. That's going to take you to the page. It's going to tell you all about how subscribing to podcast on Android, and we want all of you Android listeners to be engaged here with us and be able to get the show automatically, just like the folks on the iOS devices. It is possible, very easy to set up. We want you to do that. Of course, while you're here on the website, just scroll down a little bit further, and you're going to see important links. You're going to see a link to the newsletter. I want you to get subscribed to the newsletter. That way you get every single episode emailed to you via our one-way newsletter that comes to you with just basically all the show notes delivered directly to your inbox. So definitely do that. That way you'll never miss a single episode of the world-renowned Geek News Central. Hey, you can reach me on Twitter at Geek News, or you can email me here at the show, geeknews@gmail.com. The lower third on the website will be up. So if you've got a pen or paper and you need to write that down, or if you want to drop me an email right now, you can do that as well. So again, geeknews@gmail.com. Let's see here. What else have I got my stack here? Of course, follow on Google+, Facebook. That's really a way to stay engaged socially with me as well, that you can kind of follow along, and I can follow along with you guys too on what you've got going on. The relationship here is the most important part of this show. You know, as I'm getting ready to go to New Media Expo, I'm putting together a presentation that is basically 10 years, 1,000 episodes, and the journey and the pitfalls and the pluses and the minuses and really everything that happened over the past 10 years. And I'm also going to be talking about some things that I'm predicting for the future. And I spent a lot of time in that presentation talking about this, you and I, the relationship that you and I have, and it's really important to me. And I've said this many, many times in the past that as we move forward, I want to know you as much as you know me. I talk to you 2 times a week and share what's going on here. And it's important that we kind of get that back and forth going and continuing that. Many of you have been fans of the show for many, many years, and I so appreciate all of you that have been here for the long haul. Crazy ride that we are on. Hard to believe that we're going to be, fast approaching. It's already April, fast approaching our 11th year of doing this show. So exciting stuff, and we're going to just continue to march forward. But this show would not at all be possible without our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. And they are just had their big IPO, and I do want to say big congratulations to the team over there, and from all the reps that I've worked with through the years, David and Mendel and Chris. I hope you all got some stock. I really do, and I hope that you got a lot of stock. I don't know how they did the vesting and what employees, how long you had to be with the company, and all that stuff. But definitely a great IPO, $400 or $450 million raised, and so now on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, I think. So just you can go over there and check it out if you're looking to pick up a few shares. But we don't want you to buy shares today. We want you to pick up domain names and hosting accounts. 10 years of tight relationship with this show and GoDaddy, and they've continued to put great deals together month after month. And as I told you guys last week, we had a banner month in March. It was fantastic numbers. You guys hit it out of the ballpark, and really everyone seems to be really hitting on this economy hosting plan. We've got a huge number of folks that have hit that code last month. It seems to be very, very popular. That's the Geeks 12 code, where you get $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain. You can click on the link to see the features. And then basically clicking on the Geeks 12 code will actually lock in your code over at GoDaddy. We want you to do that when you're at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. But more importantly, we've got the 99cent.com, and I have to apologize. My bust. On the last show, I gave you the wrong code, and I actually had a listener email me and said, hey, your code didn't work. The 99cent code is GNC99. GNC99. We were writing a transfer, and I typoed it wrong. So GNC99 is the 99cent.com on a new or transferred domain. And of course, GoDaddy's new flagship product is their website builder product. And this really allows any person that has a business or wants to build a website and really doesn't have that technical finesse to do it. This is the product to buy. And you get a domain, a free domain essentially. You get the website builder account, which basically gets you up and running very, very quickly on getting a website up. And you get a Microsoft Outlook email address, all for $1 per month for 12 months. And all these codes, if you click on those links again, are going to take you to the GoDaddy website. You're going to take you to get to 99cent.com. Going to have the ability to, again, get signed up and use the website builder tool, where you can get online very, very quick. And also, I forgot to mention, there's human support, free human support with the website builder product. Okay? And we want you to really if you're a business owner and you don't have a website, please, it's 2015. You need to get your site online. Or if you're a brand new business owner and you want to get up and running quickly, this is the way to do it, okay? It's a great product, and we want you to definitely check it out. And they've made it, they put a lot of time into putting this stuff together for you so that you can have a great service, great site, great service. You basically sell stuff and have a good representation of your site. Now, if you're kind of more of a do-it-yourselfer, the economy of hosting is still fantastic. You've got the web hosting with a free domain, again, $1 a month, and you get one site, unlimited bandwidth, 100 gigs of storage, and again, $1 a month. Now that reverts to $6.99 a month after the first year, but while you're on the site, look at the differences between the economy and the deluxe. From a pricing standpoint, it's really not that much of a delta on what you get, and but all these have a cPanel that allow you to install WordPress and a variety of resources, and it really lets you kind of get up and running with an economy website. So this is kind of the more of you do-it-yourselfer type of a product. So again, all these services and codes can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We want to thank them for being an ongoing sponsor here, 10 plus years, and I really treasure this relationship with them. And, I'll be honest with you, where the products and services are fantastic, but more importantly, your guys' ongoing support of using their products and services ensure that we continue to keep the lights on here. And I got my most recent check from them that came in the mail, and let me see, I'm turning this around here. So it just came today in the mail. So all of you that have supported me, thank you so much. That really goes a long way in taking care of things here. All right, so anyway, let's wrap that up, and we'll get into my kind of stack of news here. One thing about being a geek and being getting a lot of stuff from vendors, I lose stuff all the time, and it drives me absolutely insane. And it's largely because in Hawaii we don't have big houses. I don't have a lot of room to store stuff. It ends up in a cubby hole or a box or a tug, and it's just like killing me. So I'm trying to take this concentrated effort to basically build kits of stuff. Okay, so for example, I'm getting ready to go to Vegas. I've got all my cameras ready, my lights, everything I need, but I can't find the bar that I used to mount the camera on. It's a simple $29 mount, and for the life of me, I cannot find this thing. So, I'm telling my son, we're going to have to pull boxes out of the overhead. I just don't know where this thing's at. And I'm going to spend an hour looking for this stupid thing. So here's a question I've got for all of you. And I was kind of looking online, and I'll give you an example. Oh, that's nice. Live stream died tonight. To give you an example, okay, let me grab one of these items. So, like, this is an audio recorder, just a little audio recorder, and it's battery powered. And of course, being here in Hawaii, batteries go bad very quickly, so I don't keep batteries in it when it's not being used. But this is one of the audio recorders I use when I'm going out and do video interviews. It's a backup recorder, and it's a Tascam device, and it mounts, and it's part of my rig. And this comes with a variety of little accessories and cables. So that device is maybe 2 by 2, maybe 2 by 3 by 4, maybe. So what do you guys use for organizing stuff like this? And I have to have it so I can consolidate space as much as possible and have it all organized where I keep the cables, power supplies, the memory sticks, I can keep an additional camera. I don't necessarily like bags. When I ship stuff, I ship them in Pelican cases, but I can't afford to buy a dozen Pelican cases. So when I get home, everything comes out of the Pelican cases and I rebuild them. What are you guys using to keep your stuff kind of organized? Are there any special kind of totes that you can buy with compartments in them? I was looking at some stuff from one of the tool manufacturers, and they just weren't quite deep enough to set stuff in. And it's driving me absolute crazy. I got to get a handle on it because I'm expanding. I'm getting more stuff here, and I spend an hour looking for something that could be an hour spent doing other things. So absolutely got to get this under control. What are you guys using for organization stuff and totes? And are you doing inventories, or what are you doing? Love to hear you guys. Anyone that's out there that's an absolute organization freak, or if you live in Hawaii and you are one, I'm going to hire you. You can come to, if you're an organization person, I will bring you in for a couple of days and we'll figure this all out. But it's driving me crazy. So it's just got the way you can do business. I'm just too tight. I'm throw stuff here, put it there, stack it in this stack, and it's like, where did I put that? So what do you guys do to stay organized? Congratulations to Bill Conrad on his new Media Expo VIP pass. He was one of our folks that submitted an entry, so thank you so much for that. This past Saturday, we had two people on the New Media Show. We had Rick Calvert from the New Media Expo, and we're talking about exactly what's going on with NMX. And then we had Bob Heil from Heil Sound, and he is the guy world famous audio gear maker. He's the creator of the Heil PR40. Matter of fact, I think he's figured out what's just by talking with him. A little issue I've been having here in the studio. We may be changing mics in the near future to do a test and see if that's what's going on. He thinks we're getting some reflection off a screen and not getting enough isolation, so we'll look at that. But Bob was a great guest. I mean, great hour spent with him. It was very, 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 very cool. So I had a great time, and thanks for Bob coming on. All right, so we had a listener-sponsored contest to get a Raspberry Pi, and we had I think about a half dozen entries, and I'm just, I did a random thing. This is what I try to do every time. I'll put the names in a spreadsheet, and or Sam normally does that when he's running the contest, because this was a listener-supported one. I just took care of it, but the entries were in, and I used Randomizer, a website that basically gives me a random number, and Roger Key is the winner of the Raspberry Pi, and congratulations to Roger. And Roger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you hooked up with the person that actually, Roger, just send me an email, and I'll forward your email over to the donator of the product, and he's going to ship it out to you. Okay, so that's how this is going to work. And I want to thank Dino for contributing a prize to the show. It's absolutely fantastic. I know Dino will also become an insider in the past week, and I want to thank him for that as well. So it's fans like Dino and the rest of the folks out there that's supporting the show that really makes me supercharged as we move forward into our 10-plus year here. Again, my focus this week is completely on New Media Expo, and but I don't want you to forget all the great shows here at Geek News Central, all the team members in doing everything that they do. We've got the New Media Show. We've got Pro Gear Guru now. It's not a show. It's just a website, just kind of in its infancy, getting off. We've got Health Tech Weekly with Jamie Davis. We got Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. We've got Todd Ani with the Elder Divide, and Langley with Robot Underpants. All those are on the header of each of those particular websites. They'll cross-link you back and forth here at Geek News Central. We want you to visit those sites, get subscribed to those shows, and support the other podcast part of this team. And if you found something you like on one of those shows, definitely drop me a line. I know Todd emailed me this afternoon, had a little problem. We took care of it. Basically, I emailed him back, took care of it. But basically, I love these guys and for all the hard work they put together and really having a great product. So that's kind of it on my stack here. Don't forget, listener support is critical as we move into this new season of podcasting. GeekNewsCentral.com/insider. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the full body of everything I need to chit-chat about tonight. And I do want to say that at the end of the show, I'm going to be recognizing all of our current insiders, or the ones that have been an insider this past month and supporting the show. So the first thing up is one of our team members, Andrew, who is in the UK. He's going to Gadget Show Live, and it kicks off tomorrow at the NEC in Birmingham. and he's going to be in attendance on behalf of the Geek News Central team here, and is going to be going around doing interviews with folks. So this is exciting stuff. Andrew always puts together a great number of interviews. They're usually audio only. So just be aware of that, and they'll be going into the special events feed. So there'll be some new content in there. If you're not subscribed to that, get a subscribe to the special, basically GNC media events link that's on the website, and that will get you connected with the content that Andrew's going to be putting up for the show. So I'm glad to be able to support his ability to go and travel to that show and cover some expenses for him as well. So looking forward to that content. Okay, so let's, as a reminder, lots and lots of great content on the website. And stuff on the Roku recently. We've got to talk about Line 6 and some new digital wireless systems. Talking about Bose SoundLink, the color Bluetooth speaker review by Stacy. We talk about the OnePlus Oxygen OS joins the Android party. That was put up on the website by Andrew. We've got Todoist celebrates version 10 of its iOS app by Sean. So lots of great articles on the website. Make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Don't miss a single one of those, okay? Okay. There's something pretty scary here. A New York Times resident tech blogger, Nick Bilton, recently watched a couple of rowdy young youths hack his car. He says, I just saw two kids walk up to my locked car, press a button on a device which unlocked the car, and they broke in. So much for our keyless future. And as he was chasing them down the street, he was trying to get details on exactly what they did and how they did it and what they were using. He was more interested in the device than having them actually break into his vehicle. But it's been well known here for quite a while that, as early as 2013, there's been a string of break-ins from electronic devices physically being used against our car doors. They walk up and touch the car door and they actually do some sort of trickery and using RF transmitters cycling through remote key locks to get the cars unlocked. And I think the Prius was known to have a vulnerability, but in last year's Black Hat conference, one hacker made the news showing how $1,000 of radio equipment could do the same job. Basically, he picked up the frequency of a nearby fob, and then he himself transmitted codes like the fob to the car. He said it was reasonably expensive, not exactly really being attached to a laptop, but he was able to unlock a vehicle. More and more now, I get concerned about this kind of stuff going on. Oftentimes, I know we're not supposed to leave valuables in our vehicles, but, what do? We leave laptops, we leave tablets. We may go into place and not want to carry an extra bag with our stuff in it. And with our vehicles having these digital locks and basically being able to be unlocked wirelessly, someone really wouldn't even need, they could rob you blind and you wouldn't know a car had been broken into. You walk up to your car and it looks like it's locked, and you're driving down the street, you reach for your tablet or any other type of device you may have in the vehicle, and it's gone. So it just goes to show you that, and I know we're not supposed to do that, but people still do, or whatever else left in the vehicle. Go after a stereo system, speakers, you name it. It makes you wonder, though, if cars at some point are going to have to go back just to regular keys, or if they're going to be able to figure out a way to keep them secure. Now, I've been very, very lucky over my lifetime to not have to answer a doorbell or having being met in the street by either a deputy sheriff or a lawsuit or a divorce paper server. Never had to have had papers served on me that way. I think when my first wife and I divorced, I think we basically were in, pretty much an agreement that we were going to go through with the divorce and didn't have to and one didn't have to track down the other. But what do you do if you need to serve divorce papers to a spouse or someone else that's nowhere to be found or dodging your calls and visits? Well, as of today, you may be able to send them a Facebook message. And apparently by a judge, this is now an accepted way to start the process of ending a marriage or, serving papers on someone for a lawsuit. A Manhattan Supreme Court justice recently ruled that a 26-year-old woman could serve her husband divorce papers using a private message through Facebook. In this instance, this lady's husband is pretty strangely hard to find. He doesn't have a job. He hasn't had an address since 2011. On top of that, the post office has no forwarding address for him. There's no billing address linked to his prepaid cell phone, and the Department of Motor Vehicles has no record of him. The man is a ghost whose wife wants a divorce. So the judge has authorized her to serve the paperwork over Facebook, and this obviously is not probably going to be an ongoing thing, but there were conditions upon what she had to do. Had to do it so many times. She has to serve this divorce summons via Facebook message once a week for 3 weeks or until acknowledged. This isn't the first time, again, someone's been allowed to serve legal paperwork on Facebook. However, it appears to be the first time a Facebook message has officially marked the end of a marriage. So hopefully this lady is able to get her husband served so she can start the proceedings to basically become a free woman again. But digital media. You see online, send you a message, you respond to it. Dude, you've been served. Now, this should not come as any surprise. And call me, gasp. But Comcast is bankrolling organizations that support the Time Warner cable merger. Did we really think that they were not? The New York Times investigations out today suggest that the apparatus of basically Comcast lobbying goes further than anyone thought. The Times reviewed documents showing Comcast or its trade organization funded several organizations that later sent pro-merger letters to the FCC. According to the Times, that list included Americans for Tax Reform, the American Enterprise Institute, the Institute for Policy Innovation, Competitive Enterprise Institute, the Free State Foundation, and the Center for Individual Freedom, as well as a professor at a technology program at the University of Pennsylvania. So all these were bought and paid for by Comcast. The Times also counted charities and more than 80 community groups among those groups that received support, ka-ching, 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 and that frequently wrote letters and op-eds supporting Comcast, Time Warner cable merger. We've talked about this in the past already, about these groups, but this is the first time that they have been linked to these real official sounding organizations. So American for Tax Reform. So I think I should put together a group that's Americans for Podcasters. What's another one here? We've got American Enterprise Institute. So we have to have the American Podcasting Institute. So it's no surprise. Big money talks. That's what it's all about, folks. Big money, big checks, paying off your Congress or representative, your senator or representative. So it's just, call me shocked. I don't think any of us are at the least bit shocked. Now, Samsung, on the other hand, wow, what is up with this? Samsung paid 500 fake fans to attend a Chinese press event for the launch of its new flagship phones. According to a report out of Shanghai, Samsung paid 500 people as much as like $5 to stay for an hour at their press event. And if they were asked by the press, they were supposed to say, we're a big fan of Samsung products, but appears many of the guests that Samsung got via some chat sites and had to come in off the street to earn $5 for an hour. We're using iPhones and a variety of different other devices to take pictures of the Samsung devices. So, it's bad when you have to pay 500 people to attend your press event. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I guess it's a China thing. So the iPhone has a market share of 27.6% in China, and followed by, let's see here, what else? iPhone 6, followed by the Xiaomi Redmi and the Apple iPhone 6 Plus. So Samsung does not have very much of a market share there, but pay $500. Hey, those of you that are expats, or those of you that may have a Netflix subscription using a VPN account, be aware. A link to basically a new term in Netflix terms of services basically says that they can terminate your account if you use a VPN to access Netflix. So, wow, that's an interesting move here. And it definitely shows that Netflix does not like VPNs. And what they don't want is people from other countries coming in the United States, probably paying the lower price that we may have compared to other countries, or countries that are not on the service being able to get access to it. So if you're using a VPN, don't use a popular one. Use one that's on the lowdown so you don't get bumped off their service. They're just going to cancel you. All right, next article up is Edward Snowden's in the news. And today, an artist, a renegade sculptor, in fact, has mounted a bust of Edward Snowden in a Brooklyn park. And this is pretty impressive. I'm looking at this, and a pretty impressive piece of art. Except the Brooklyn Parks Department, or whoever's there, whoever in charge of that, did not like it. And by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was pulled down. I don't know what was sitting on top of that to begin with, but this thing was big, heavy. They put a tarp over it to kind of keep the press from snooping around. But the Parks Department finally was able to get it removed at some point. And I guess the police want to talk to the renegade sculptor about his property and about putting the bust in the park. So it didn't last very long. I wonder if they thought it would last a little bit longer. But a lot of planning went into this. This thing's big. Oh, man. The guy continues to be in the news here. He's a cult hero. All right, FCC is proposing treating online TV like cable TV. Now, this is a little bit concerning here. Amazon, of course, is objecting. They say if it'll stop you from being Amazon opposes if it'll stop you from binge watching. So basically, there's a little bit of worry here, because most cable providers operate under what's called a multi-channel video program distributor, MVPD. And today, those are cable and satellite companies. In plain English, the proposed changes means that the FCC adopts or modernizes the rules. Any service that delivers a bunch of TV channels, no matter how they do it, can be classified and treated the way cable and satellite companies are today. That change would apply to a category of online video that the FCC calls subscription linear. Online distribution of continuous linear streams of video programming on a subscription basis. Basically, anything that delivers channels online as opposed to on demand. Access in Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, etc. Now, the FCC is putting out a call for public comments in response to the proposal. Particularly, the Commission is asking for comments on how existing good faith rules should be used to should apply to internet-based distributors, how different rule interpretations would affect consumers, distributors, and content companies, and how different rule interpretations would promote competition. Now, I'm concerned because, we have some channels on the Roku, right? We got the Tech Podcast channel, we've got the Blueberry channel. We provide access to content. It's not necessarily linear. Now, linear is essentially continuous, one right after the other. But if they're saying Netflix and Amazon are going to be kind of in this boat, there's a fine line here. So we'll be looking at that. I'll have my our legal officer be going through this and see if we're affected and if we're going to make a comment. Because here I am, a small little itty bitty company, and I could be classified an MVPD, and that's not my idea of a good time at all. From a regulatory standpoint. So the FCC's, flipping the channel now, and it could get interesting here over the next few years. Another thing MVPD does is, as a live content and on-demand content distributor, I don't have to. There's a certain rules when it comes to having them caption supported for the hearing impaired. If I had to have my shows completely captioned, it would put me out of business. There's just no way I could do it. If you go to broadcast, it has to be captioned. So some of those rules could apply. So we'll see what happens here with this, and I'm sure it's going to be some questions are going to be asked by a lot of people. All right, if you have a Sling, were you watching the Final Four? My team got busted out. I didn't watch, I'm going to be honest with you. But Sling TV is sorry for messing up your Final Four basketball stream. There was apparently some problems. And they got a big stress test and failed. And they were having some issues. So Dish wasn't prepared for the flood of new customers and had to juggle load across its networking partners to get things back to normal. So Sling must be growing, and on-demand sports must be the winner for them over there. All right, going to switch gears here just a little bit and talk about space. Japanese spacecraft is going to attempt a Venus comeback in December. Now, if you remember, way back in 2010, the Akatsuki Venus probe was supposed to begin circling Earth's hot sister planet in December 2010. But the craft's main engine failed during the crucial orbital insert burn. Now, Akatsuki has been orbiting the sun ever since, waiting for another shot at Venus, and now officials at the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency have settled on a date for the comeback on December 7th. The main engine is dead, so the probe is going to try to achieve orbit on the date using its smaller altitude control thrusters. And mission team members have said if the maneuver works, they're going to basically be able to slip the satellite into a highly elliptical orbit that completes one lap around Venus every 8 or 9 days. The original mission planned for a 30-hour orbit period, but at least they may get some money and get some science out of this satellite yet. So we'll watch this as it progresses towards the December date. How many of you listeners are old Atari fans? 6,800, is that a number that, or 68,000, is that a number that sounds familiar to you? Jimmy Maher, author of The Future Was Here, is currently publishing an incredibly interesting series of articles titled The 68,000 Wars. And they've been published, and a couple of articles have been published. So I have those linked up for you, for those of you that were Atari fans. Now, for those of you that have been listening to the show for a while, you know we haven't introduced a new sponsor in a while. And I want to talk about a new sponsor that is coming on board here on the show. And I'm actually waiting for my sample pack to arrive. But I've been doing a lot of research on this company called Harry's. Now, Harry's is a new vendor that's coming on the show that are going to be here through the end of the month. And my time's clicking with them, and I'm worried about getting their sample pack to try and give you guys a good review. But we've got a deal. We got some money off on a Harry's subscription. And if you look at the pricing, it's worth the price just to try. This is I went through and looked at it. I was like, whoa, you get a lot for not very much money. And I'm a big, I love a fresh blade on a regular basis. And with some of the other blades out there being so expensive as they are, it can be pretty costly to replace a blade on a regular basis. But again, I don't have the sample pack yet. I'm hoping to have it this week, and I'll be able to give these razors the face test and give you guys the up and close on how the product works. But if you want to check it out now, there's a link in the show notes to Harry's, and if you get over there and want to do a trial, use the promo code Geek News. Okay. All right, so let's move on here to the next article in the stack. A little shot of H2O. When I was doing my degree with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, I did most of my classes online. Well, I did all my classes online. And taking online classes is tough. And when it comes to exam time, the first time I took an exam, I was really apprehensive. But the you're taking a math test, or you're taking an English test, or you're taking something that is maybe to do with derivatives or whatever it may be, and you just don't know what to expect, and you have this timed test to answer. So I emailed the instructor the first time. I said, "Are we allowed to use our books?" And he said, "Oh yeah, if you want to use your books, go ahead. It's an online test. You do it at home." And I'm like, "Cool." Well, the tests were, oh my God, incredibly hard. I mean, like not easy. And you would have had to have done the material. It didn't matter if you had the book. You could have went to the section and reread the section, but the time limit you had just really didn't allow you to, do too much of that. And so writing, doing tests online it was very stressful for me. You get an hour and a half to do the first part, an hour and a half to do the second, and they had to be in a certain time frame, et cetera, et cetera. But now colleges are starting to introduce something called Proctor Track, and this is kind of crazy. Some Rutgers students, Rutgers, excuse me if I pronounce that incorrectly, were surprised to find out they had to put on some pants to take their midterm, since their every move would be recorded via webcam. Plus, the system monitoring them would flag seemingly arbitrary infractions for review. So, Proctor Track records video of the students taking exams and uses algorithms to determine their identities and flags portions of a video if it detects suspicious behavior. According to the company's best practices, that behavior includes looking away from the webcam, changing the lighting, dropping a pencil, and talking to someone out of frame. The flag segments are then shared with the university's instructors for evaluation. Proctor Track states that its monitoring is completely automated and only shares the video with school officials. It even posted a pledge stating it doesn't share personal information with third parties and purges data after 30 to 60 days. Rutgers student Betsy Chow found the experience of being monitored during midterms so unsettling, she created a Change.org petition asking the university to rescind the program. The university responded by stating that Proctor Track wasn't mandatory and students could use human proctors for their tests. So, have you guys ever took an online course and had an open book test in a college course? I have. I don't know what I would do if I had the camera staring at me. I think I'd rather go into the classroom and sit down and take the test without, with a human there. Just seems a little weird. But in this day of competition for jobs and everything else, I understand why they're implementing it. You don't want, your mom taking the test for you, or some hack that you pay down the street that's a genius in your subject to take your test. So I can understand what they're doing. I always wondered too, when I was going to Embry-Riddle, how they tracked all that, how they would figure out if someone was cheating on a test, because technically there was no video recording. I don't know if they were logging IPs or what they were doing. Okay, the Large Hadron Collider is fully rebooted and ready for record-setting atom smashing. For the next couple of weeks, it's going to be running at reduced power, but after that, they're going to crank this baby up, and they're going to be operating at the 13 TeV level, and they are going to be smashing some atoms. This is a very complex machine. It is got a lot of things that have to go right, so we'll keep an eye on this thing and make sure we'll see how they do and see if it runs without breaking down. All right, 1.5 million people are now testing Windows 10. So if you're excited about Windows 10 or if you've been testing it, let me know how it's going. I'd love to hear on that. Also, if you are looking for a new career, the federal government wants to add 75,000 new solar power workers. So the president announced an expansion of a program to Utah Hill Air Force Base, and they're going to help train 75,000 people to enter the solar workforce by 2020, including a number of veterans. And the initiative is a significant boost to the program announced last year that had a goal of training 50,000 solar-powered workers by 2020. I'm going to tell you, this once you see one solar system go in, it's not real complicated. I think with a couple weeks worth of training, almost anyone could be a solar install person. Really, I think it's that basic. Even the wire up was not that complicated. And of course, my system now, as soon as I get my tax return, will be paid in full, and I'll be on my 3-year, 6-month march to a 3-year, 2 or 3 month march to recover every penny that I put into the system. But main thing is no bill from the power company. Woohoo! All right, the FCC has hit companies with a record fine for 9/11 failures. Of course, in April of last year, a coding error knocked out 9/11 service for more than 11 million people, leaving more than 6,600 emergency calls from a home. 6,600 calls basically go unanswered. Now, the FCC's already fined Verizon for failing its duties, but they've fined 2 additional companies, CenturyLink and Intrado Communications, that basically were hit for a couple $1 million each. So that's a big whack here. But the FCC settled with both companies for different amounts. And, CenturyLink will pay $16 million. Wow, Intrado will pay 1.4. That's huge. Huge. If you remember, Verizon only got hit for $3.4 million. So the company that did it really got hit hard. Wow, that's a big one. All right, do you have a baby cam? Please, parents. Do you have any type of digital webcam in your house? Have you changed the default password? If you haven't, stop. The FOSCam, Nanny Cam, man, there's been some weird stuff going on with this thing. Please, make sure you've changed the passwords, you've registered it, you've got updates, because it's just not you watching your baby if you've got one of these things. This is scary stuff, and this would immediately, for me at least, that product would get the band hammer, and the band hammer includes an actual hammer that would be, striking a fatal blow to it to never be used in my home. But the FOSCam Nanny Cam was able to change positions and move around, has a speaker, and parents have been freaking out and actually saw pictures of their nursery on a foreign website that people had taken as they were viewing the bedroom with their baby, and it's scary stuff, okay? Be aware. All right, the Federal Appeals Court is asking the administration to explain why the government should be allowed to keep secret its plans to shutter, yes, I'm using the word shutter, mobile phone services during critical emergencies. The Department of Homeland Security came up with a plan known as Standing Operating Procedure 303 after cellular phones were used to detonate explosives targeting a London public transportation system. SOP 303 is a powerful tool in the digital age and spells out a unified, voluntary process for the orderly shutdown and restoration of wireless services during critical emergencies such as the threat of radio-activated improvised explosive device, IEDs. So apparently they're trying to get access to this doc, and the judge is making a decision whether or not it's going to be released to the public or not. I think this is one of those situations where if you're a conspiracy theorist, you would be worried about the government shutting down all of the cellular network. And it could happen during times of protest, which has happened in San Francisco before. Could happen during actual terrorist attacks. There's a variety of reasons where you maybe would want it shut down, and where you are out protesting maybe not, or not being shut down. So this is kind of a big deal. So see what the court does in its ruling in the upcoming weeks. Well, this is the 7th anniversary of Trinity. Thousands of visitors converged Saturday on the Trinity test site in New Mexico, where the first nuclear bomb was detonated nearly 70 years ago. And tourists joined a vehicle caravan out of the state, out to the site, and were greeted by demonstrators that basically were out there protesting the 70th anniversary tour, talking about how people that were affected from that weapons testing were affected, and how people died, and a variety of different things that weren't widely reported on. But it's a good write-up, and it's available on Slashdot. I'll have a link up in the show notes. I've always wanted to go out to one of those sites. It'd be kind of cool to see it. Maybe the next time out in New Mexico, I'll be able to make it happen. Sam, how far is that from Albuquerque? It's out there your way, some way, right? And maybe we'll go out there together if I get out your way again. All right, these next two articles, I try to keep this show 100% child safe, but John Oliver sat down with Edward Snowden in Russia to talk about a variety of topics. And there's a new website up, and I'm just going to let you guys Google it yourself. I'm not going to put the links up to these two articles. It would break my golden rule here, but there's a pretty good interview, 27-minute interview with John Oliver and Edward Snowden, and there's a very informative site that starts with cantheyseemybeep.com, and so there's some information there available for you folks to begin. Just Google John Oliver and Edward Snowden's interview, watch the interview, and then the secondary site, again, please be aware that the reason that they put it up, and some of the data that's on there, and there is actually some some good data, and it's nothing going to be in the show notes, so you will have to listen to the show to well, if you didn't listen to the show, who cares, right? It's like that, that bear in the woods story. All right, Bitcoin Foundation is bankrupt. One of the newly elected board members of the Bitcoin Foundation, the 2.5-year-old organization, was meant to bring order to the famously open source and freewheeling cryptocurrency, has declared the group effectively bankrupt. And they don't have enough money to continue. They just didn't generate enough interest. That's what happens often to trade groups when there's enough people to get size. All right, in Turkey authorities have blocked access to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube over their initial refusal to remove photos of a prosecutor who was taken hostage by militants in Istanbul, but the ban was revoked as well as all three social media platforms complied. But the ban was revoked as all three social media platforms complied with the court order after 8 hours. So it just goes to show you again here that you've got governments that are basically shutting the switch off to very popular, very powerful social media sites. All right, let's talk about Intel. And I don't know how I missed this, but I guess this was the darling of CES. And I'm just like, dude, Intel has introduced a $150 stick that turns a TV into a Windows desktop. It's now on sale. The best one is at Newegg. It's got 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of storage, and the Intel Compute Stick can turn anything with an HDMI port into a full-fledged Windows computer. Made a bit of a splash again when it touched down at CES, and it's now landing for real. Pre-orders have started again at Amazon and Newegg, and so I'd like to see some reviews. I'm not going to order one yet, but it is one of these enticing little tools that I got to thinking. It's like that Raspberry Pi. You can plug it into a television set, or you can plug it into a monitor. I could plug it into a monitor if I put a monitor back here, and if it has wireless, I could control what was on the screen with a very simple Windows operating system and some tools. So I can understand where this is going to be kind of cool to use and some utility. It's not for heavy lifting. It's for, different types of presentations on glass and so forth. So definitely worth the checkout for sure. There's a good discussion going on by a lot of scientists right now, and specifically the ESA. The ESA has launched a project called Clean Sat Initiative. It's a program that's looking for ideas to help scuttle satellites when their lives have ended. So, again, the European Space Agency is taking an initiative here to try to figure out how to clean up space in and around Earth. And coming up, they're talking with vendors and stuff to come up with ideas and trying to get some stuff in place so that all satellites that are put in orbit have a way for those satellites to be deorbited later. I think that's a very compelling reason to come up with some mandatory things for satellite providers to do. LG today may have outed Apple. Specifically, LG has said that Apple's going to be releasing a super high-resolution iMac 8K later this year. And so a press release that was published by Apple display supplier LG, again, suggested the all-in-one desktop will have an even higher resolution screen this year. And please, 8K, come on. Do we really need 8K? 4K is, everything's pretty spread out already. I'm still torn on my 4K monitor here. I'm still not 100%, behind it. Okay, YouTube is making it easier to watch 4K videos. So if you've got a 4K monitor, they've been basically using their VP9 format to make 4K more viable to improve the picture you see. The codec uses as little as half the bandwidth as the H.264 standard you see on many parts of the web, even as it bumps up the image quality by prioritizing sharp features and taking into account fast-moving elements in the footage like water spray. So very, very cool stuff here, and Google's trying to make it better for all of you guys to watch 4K on your big screens. Every once in a while, some weirdo and some fanatic comes out with something so cool that you want to build one yourself. And this video that I'm going to link to is pretty quirky. The gentleman is quite eccentric, but a gentleman has basically put together a chainsaw-powered marble-firing machine gun. And it shoots marbles at a very high rate of speed, and it can't be used for it's not going to put holes in walls, but it will probably be a very effective and create you to have a pretty strong sting. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes. You guys can check it out. I will forewarn you that the guy doing the video and the YouTube video is just a little... I don't know if he'd had a few cocktails before he did the video, or if he's trying to be funny, but it was a bit curious. If you're in Los Angeles, and I have to admit, why would we talk about parking signs on a tech show? Well, in LA, the new parking signs are brilliant, and every city should have one of these. And when you guys see this, look at this. And for those of you that are listening, what it is, it's a regular parking sign. And on the first, it has 3 columns. On the first column, it says Monday, Friday. Second column says Saturday. Third column says Sunday. Then it's from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. It shows the periods of time when you can park or not park, how long you can park, whether or not you're going to get towed or not. And then, of course, it shows periods when it's open. This is brilliant. And they got the ability here to getting more parking info via a website. Also, there's a QRC codes on it. This is a sign that all of us can get behind. We would never, ever get our cars towed again. It makes it so simple. I'm serious. Brilliant. Whoever came up with this, man, did a really good job. I mean, maybe these signs have been seen in other jurisdictions. I don't know. But they did it all. When do you see this thing? Link will be up in the show notes. How do you get excited about a parking sign? Well, when you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And, going to New York and reading some of their parking signs, my God, they're like stacked 5 deep with the if, and, this, or what, and but, All right, a Windows 7 update and 8.1 update silently installs a Windows 10 downloader. So this is an interesting move here. So again, computers running Windows 8.1 or Windows 7 Service Pack 1 is from March 28th. There's a new file. It has been installed, and it is designed to download Windows 10. So are we getting close? I'm kind of getting excited about Windows 10. Let's get it on. Let's get it on the street. All right, the TSA has been using behavior screening to identify undocumented immigrants. Were supposed to be used to sort out terrorists. But instead, this particular screening system that they have is actually causing the arrest of a lot of illegal immigrants. So it's kind of an interesting move here. And it basically looks for people being nervous. And they've been able to, I don't know if they're deporting people or not, but this behavior detection and analysis program is definitely catching the illegal aliens versus maybe the people they should be capturing. Ex-Google executive Andy Rubin has raised $48 million for a hardware incubator. Man, these folks, man, what a round. That's some money. The rich get richer and the poor, well, we just continue to move along here, right? And I shouldn't say poor. Those of us, there's the upper echelon and those of us that are working stiffs. Tim Cook announced that Apple employees will get 50% off Apple Watch, and 1,000 plus apps have already been submitted. So it's been thanking their employees, and 50% off. Why didn't he just get one for everyone? They've done that before. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to be buying one. I'm trying to watch my budget. So you guys are going to have to tell me all about it, okay? Stanford's aluminum battery. They've got a new aluminum battery that fully charges in just 1 minute. It's an experimental battery, and it doesn't give quite the power or quite the watts they need at this point. But they proved that it's quite viable with multiple discharges and recharges, and should last longer than our current batteries. They just need to get the juice up. So this is pretty exciting. Charging a battery in just 1 minute is my idea of absolutely fantastic. No more carrying extra batteries around. Okay, final couple of articles for you tonight. There's a Wi-Fi enabled USS Enterprise, and you gotta love these folks that do those do-it-yourself projects. And it's actually wide. It's not necessarily a full router. It's like an access point. But basically, they built electronics into this Enterprise, and it has a couple of connectors on the bottom. And but it's pretty cool. So if you are a Star Trek fan, you can have access point plus the Enterprise on your desk. All right, very, very, very cool stuff. All right, final article of the evening is on an article that's over on Gawker. And this is a major hit piece on a blogger that calls herself the Food Babe. And just looking at the picture of this woman, she is a beautiful woman, no doubt. Very, very gorgeous. But this scientist that goes after her, many of her claims, it makes you go, wow. So if you're a food blogger out there, I would really highly recommend you read this piece and not follow example of what this woman has done, and some of the stuff that she's reported on is completely not based in science, and many times completely made up. So I have a link up in the show notes, and boy oh boy, just in this lady's been seen on national television and a variety of different places, but doesn't bode well for her reputation. All right, let me go down here, and I did want to thank folks who have been contributing to the show recently, and I'm just going to try to go through the names relatively quick here, sorting through email. I want to thank Michael. Let's see if I can. Okay, Todd, don't goof up. Ryan, Roger, Dino, Mika. Mika's a long-time listener of the show. Vision impaired. We've got Sports Junk. Thanks for yours. Michael, Curtis, David, Todd, Mike, Deborah, Ken, Michael, again, a different Michael, Gary. Oh my goodness, you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name. Ionis? Ionis, thanks so much. Where are you from, Ionis? Where do you tune in from? Richard, Denise, Kirk, Larry, Bo, Nigel, Dale, Andrew, and I think that's kind of the stack here. Ryan, thanks all of you for being insiders and contributing to the show. It's greatly appreciated, and we definitely need to continue to build the number of folks that are supporting the show, to really, really make changes and do a lot of things over here. We just have to build the numbers. So geeknewscentral.com/insider. If you had a good time on today's show, if I'm worth 6.7 cents a day, feel free to go to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become an insider. We definitely appreciate your commentary by sending emails to the show or following me on Twitter, or whatever you may be doing, or the support of GoDaddy, our sponsor. It's greatly appreciated. I look forward to being back with you here on Thursday. And I want to thank everyone that did submit for the Raspberry Pi from the contest. But good luck to everyone. And again, we'll get our winner hooked up with the prize by our contributor. Until next time, we'll see everyone here Thursday, or actually Friday morning release. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Aloha.